Well, greetings, salutations, and welcome to the first day of fall. You know, I haven't done a garden tour in a while. Life has been a little busy, and I was so busy harvesting, I forgot to actually do a garden tour. I know, terrible, isn't it? How am I supposed to help you keep up with this stuff? I have done more, oh my gosh, I've made salsa and pickles, and just I've frozen so much stuff. It's ridiculous. I have like 22 cups of shredded zucchini in the freezer, but I figured, in case you can't tell by the white sheets, I would give a tour since we just had a frost. 2 nights ago, we were supposed to get down to 36 degrees, and we actually got down to 30, and then last night we got down to 35. So our garden's not very happy right now. I bought some tulips, actually, just to plant along here, since I have the grape hyacinth and other bulbs along here. I figured I'd just keep going around the fence because I'm not really going to do too much with here, but just have flowers in here. The believe echinacea, I'll find out when it flowers. I don't remember. I had spare plants and they just sat in the cups forever, and I finally just went, I'm just going to throw them in the ground and see what happens. And they're actually doing pretty good, and they've actually held up to the frost for the most part, and abuse of no water, etc. This is the girls' volunteer tomato over here. We didn't cover it, obviously, but it has very minimal damage, and it looks to be okay, which is kind of interesting, considering, you know, maybe I need to save the seeds off of that, right? Because it did pretty well. My sage is huge. That's my hand. Look at that. It's huge. I can't believe how big that's gotten, so coming out and harvest some more of that. And my holy basil looks like it held up pretty well. And then I've got savory, which wasn't supposed to be savory. My thyme is ginormous. Need to trim that back. The flower plant there, which I always forget the name of it because I didn't plant it. I just transplanted it. Seems to have gotten a little bit of damage. It's kind of funny. This is where the walking onion was planted, and that plant right there is actually lemon balm. And I don't remember planting it there, so I don't know if it came with the pot or what, but I'm not complaining because I do love the smell of lemon balm. My dinosaur kale, huge, isn't it? Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. It actually had a really bad case of bugs, and the bugs are finally gone. I guess now that it's cooler, maybe that'll actually kind of grow a little more. Our rabbits will enjoy that. Someone was throwing these out, so we got a big stack of them. So I brought them out here to experiment, and I think I'm going to go ahead and make like a little split rail type fence, I guess. I don't know what you're going to call that, log fence, split rail, you know. These things, right, with spaces between them. I think I'm going to try and do that over here. And then, well, somebody was back here and messed up the garden. The jar is supposed to be on the plate over there. We have had a skunk hanging out. I had my husband hang that shelf for me back here. It was a freebie. It's cool. It's like a little small door that someone converted into shelves. I brought the stripped bed spring down here. I'm figuring out where I want to put that because I might put it somewhere and make a little small climbing flower on it. Sunchokes are not looking very happy, but they seem to look like that every day. I don't know what's with them. I don't know if they're just like heavy, need a lot of water or what, but they look like this every day. And then when I water them, they perk up. But they don't really look like they've gotten any damage per se. My one vine looks like it's doing okay. It's getting a little yellow at the bottom, but it's rather interesting because the other vine, one's yellow, one's red. They're both tulip vines. I bought them and planted them at the same time, and they both got chewed back last year and then grew good this year. But like this one is like completely just yellow and looked like it's dying. So I don't know if maybe it's the exposure difference. I mean, shouldn't really make that big of a difference from there to here, but the exposure difference, or if there's something going on over here. We'll see. Every year I pray something comes back. My pear tree, which still has not done too much. It's gotten a couple little growths out of the bottom, but it didn't really do anything with the top, and all the branches kind of died up there. So that turned into a very expensive bunny chew stick tree. Asparagus with its little seeds. Still have plenty of carrots to go. Bean pods, I've just been letting them dry, and then as they dry, I'm harvesting them. But what if I can do this one-handed? The seeds on these are absolutely huge. They're pretty cool though. Kind of a cool looking seed. Golden raspberries. I have been picking a handful or two, mostly off of this part. The rest of them has fruit. Well, there's a couple over there. The rest of them have fruit, but they haven't ripened yet. So this little area right here has been keeping me busy. Get a little handful every day, stick them in the freezer. There was only a couple of green beans left, so I wasn't too concerned about these, but you can tell they were slug eaten for one. I didn't keep up on getting the slugs off because it was towards their end and the frost took them in, I think. The thornless raspberries that I got from a friend have also been doing really well. It's kind of funny. The deer can just get through here and they're just nibbling on the end of this. But they've been doing good, and I've been getting a handful of those for the freezer every day. What you doing there, garden assistant? Raspberries coming up in this bed over here. I really need to do something with this next year. Figure out where I'm going to put them. The yellow squash, it was mostly covered, but you can tell this part was uncovered because it got hit hard. But even the parts that were covered, I mean, not a happy plant at all. At all. Horseradish, you wouldn't even know we had a frost. My cucumbers, I've actually got one hanging there. I don't know if it's good now because it got frosted or not. I left it because it was smaller. All the cucumbers are very sad and unhappy, so they might be done. We'll see. The slicing cucumbers, however, this one got a little bit of damage, but they actually kind of look okay. So maybe my sheet came down. We basically came out here and tied these all up just for the next frost coming, so all we have to do is put them back down. The kuka melon seems okay. Does anyone know, I've never grown these before, and they're absolutely adorable. But when do you eat these? I mean, how big are they supposed to be? So if anyone knows, let me know. The tomatoes definitely did not like the frost. When we were pulling the cover down, so many of them dropped. I mean, there was just tons of them on the ground. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and harvest them and bring them in and see if they'll actually ripen or not. I'm hoping the rest of these are okay, because I have tons of them. I mean, these make me really sad because look how big these are. I was really hoping to get those, but they're so late. So that was the Genovese, I think, which was supposed to be for a short season, but I'm kind of thinking it wasn't because they didn't get big till late. Of course, our season was really weird this year anyway, so I don't know if I can really judge on that. But the black cherry tomatoes did really good, and you can see I still had a ton left. I was getting handfuls off of those every day, but now we're, towards the end of the season. This was a yellow brandywine. Wasn't overly impressed. It got some damage. I wasn't overly impressed with this tomato, to be honest, so I'm not sure if I'll grow that again next year. I have tried these before. These are the canning tomatoes, and they did pretty bad before. And this year, I actually got a lot of tomatoes. I really got a ton, and I've actually got a lot inside that I've actually put in the freezer, and I pulled a bunch off that were starting to get ripe before the frost. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that some of these will still make it. Unfortunately, we've got about 2 more days of warm weather coming up, and then we're going to be in the 60s and the 40s, and then another frost coming up. So I'm not holding my breath much for the garden anymore. Because we had the fence here, so we just draped it over the back and the front, and the peppers that actually had the material touching all got frost damage. But like these two, because they were lower and the material wasn't touching, they didn't get damage. Same with this. Anywhere the material was touching, it got damaged. So there's our lesson. The frost material works as long as it's not touching the plant. Although how you're supposed to do that in this condition, I don't know. Anyways, that is it. I definitely love how the garden's coming along, little baby step at a time. I did pull up the rest of my potatoes, and I don't know if I told you, but we got bunnies a couple weeks ago, so I threw the first bucket of manure on there for next year, and then I'll probably pull my corn up. You know, my corn was really weird this year. I got a few ears, but they weren't fully fertilized, and I don't know if it's because of the ambitious raspberries or the frost or the weather or what happened, but it did not do very good this year. I mean, small, and like all the tassels disappeared, so I don't know if that was the grasshoppers getting in there and eating them off or what happened, but yeah. Raspberries did good this year. Tomatoes mostly good. Peppers good. I guess that's it. So, there we go. That's what's going on in the garden. Well, this was a volunteer lettuce. I was quite entertained. I've actually been feeding that to the rabbits every day. That's it. That's what's going on in the fall garden. So, let me know how your garden did this year. And if anyone knows on those cucamelons. And if anyone knows if tomatoes will survive after a frost like this, let me know. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.